JD here, and as you can see, we are back with some league racing action. This time for round 4 of the GASR series. You can see here are the current standings on the screen here now. After a very good last race at Kota, we managed to take the win. So coming into this race with a lot of confidence. Singapore is actually one of my favourite tracks to drive, believe it or not. It's a track that I've had a lot of success at. And I think the main reason why I really enjoy driving this track is not so much the one-lap pace, but in the race, when the tyres start to wear, the tyre temperatures start to rise, you have to be ultra smooth, which
that's actually a PB.
Really complements my driving style. So when the balance is constantly changing, you have to become smoother and smoother. That's where I really excel. So we're kind of skipping to Q3 here because we made it through Q1, Q2 quite comfortably. Hope you said at the end of last lap, I was really happy. So actually coming into this race to qualifying, I was actually struggling quite a bit. So I did a 25.8 last season in practice. I think I did a 0.8 twice, and then the rest were like 0.9s, 0.0. So really struggling in qualifying, but the race pace was a significant jump compared to last season. And I think for Kota and here, my mindset has really changed after Zandvoort when I had that really bad result and didn't really remain calm. In a way, I think that was a bit of a godsend because that just made me realise that I just need to be much more composed, much more calm. And I think if you've been watching my recent live streams as well, I think that really does kind of carry over when you're watching me. I'm intentionally just trying to really be ultra focused in the moment. If something bad happens, just get on with it and do the best I can, not making rash decisions. And I think you'll see in this race and also last race at Kota, that's been working very well. So this qualifying lap here is actually going pretty well so far. A bit of a mistake there. So coming off that right hand, you can see we were like almost a 10th up or over a 10th up, and we almost lost all of that time. So on a perfect lap, could have been pole, but despite really just one error in this lap, I was actually pretty happy with this. Someone does a 0.6 coming across the line. It's going to be a 25.7, almost a 0.6. I was actually really happy with that, and that makes me start P3. Actually, the two guys ahead of me in the championship are the two guys ahead of me on the grid here as well. So yeah, I wasn't actually quite aware of that. It's all by championship standing. So we're going to start on mediums here because the risk of a safety car or multiple safety cars is very high. So we've got 5 lights, and as they go out, get a pretty good start. So you can see going to Tail 1, you can certainly lose the race here. So the goal is just to slot in behind, and a little bit of a longer video here, so hopefully you don't mind, because I think there's a lot of raw action I really want to show you in this race, because you'll see a little bit of a roller coaster race here, but in terms of my actual performance and especially the pace in the race, I think this is actually probably the best I've driven so far this season, even better than we did at Kota. So definitely stay tuned to that. If you would like access to the setup that I'm actually running in this race, then make sure you click that join button, become a YouTube member, then join my Discord. I upload all of my league racing setups after the race. Also, if you want one-to-one coaching of me, you also get a discount on one-to-one coaching. And then when you go to www.coachlimitless.com, you can book a session with me on any platform. But you can see here, Batful was actually getting away. Anton was lacking a little bit of pace in the race, so we have to quickly dispatch of him. And yeah, just coming into this, I was just really confident in the pace. Again, as the tyres go off more and more, I think that was just going much more into my favour. You can see we're almost in the DRS zone, so slowly closing in on the leader. Someone's had a bit of incident, so a safety car's got a virtual safety car, which sometimes quite often, or very often, goes to a full safety car, and you can see now it's a full safety car. So at this point, lap 3 of the race, I'm doing a little bit of a dummy here in case anyone's stream sniping. So you can see the leader's gone in the pits, the guy behind me's gone in the pits, quite a few people going in the pits. Personally, I felt that was very early, and I was very confident there were going to be more safety cars. Singapore, there's an average of usually about 3 safety cars per season in league racing, so I was pretty happy with my decision to stay out. We'll see if that pays off in the long run as we go further into this race. But on the mediums here, and I think Bapful, the net race leader, who's already pitted, is in P8. So we've got 7 cars between us. And again, throughout this whole first stint, see, we just get a really good restart here. And I was just very, very confident in the pace. The more the race went on, the more the balance came towards me, and I think that's how I really set up my car. It's to be very good in balance. You can see we've broken out the DRS zone as well, so moving a few laps later here, and you can see Batfall is up to P3, but he's probably going to try and go potentially to the end of the race as well. So I was pretty confident, as Cuntshot has had a bit of incident, so a virtual safety car's come out, and I was praying this became a full safety car, because if this was a full safety car, no, if there's no more safety cars like this, that would be absolutely race over. But it's a virtual safety car. But this is a key part of the race. So virtual safety car, you have to stick within the delta. So when we come into the pits here, almost hit the wall here. So as we come into the pits, you'll see we're a 1.7 green inside this virtual safety car delta. So pretty safe margin. So yeah, if that was a full safety car, that would have been absolutely perfect timing. So yeah, the race is going to be quite difficult from here. I really do need another safety car after this. I want to get back into this race. So a bit unfortunate that wasn't a full safety car, but still, I was very determined to push as hard as possible, use the fresher tyres, and see what I could do. But this is the killers. Coming out the pits here, you don't have any virtual safety car delta, so the game doesn't let you know what the delta is. We actually take it quite cautious coming out the pits. And because I was 1.7 in the green, I thought this would be fine. But as we cross the pit lane line, we are 0.040, 4 hundredths under the delta. Safety car just ends, and we get an instant drive-through penalty. And yeah, I think looking back on this, you can see just saying I'm done here. That was just super unfortunate. So if we do this in real speed, real time, you see how quickly that is. So coming into the pits, see we're well within the delta, and it doesn't tell you the delta until you cross the pit lane line. So I think the game in future, if it gave you the delta when you regain control coming out the pits, that would be perfect. Because for me, I literally had less than a tenth of a second, or maybe a little bit more, to react to that on the exit of the pits. And by the time I could react to it, it was already over. So you'll see in real time, I don't think there was really anything we could do here. And that slaps you with a drive-through penalty. And unless there's a safety car, it's completely race over. You see, as soon as we come out of the pits, barely have any time to react, and then we get an instant drive-through. So have to serve that on the next lap. And yeah, again, like with Zan with Misfortunes, I'm just doing my best here to be composed. I was absolutely seething inside a little bit as well.
0.0.
And yeah, just hear me say what the time difference was and how much we got caught out. But
I can't believe that.
Yeah, I was just doing my best to be composed. I was very much hoping for a safety car later in the race, because I really felt with my race pace we could still actually have a good result. So if there's no safety car now, the race is over. We are in dead last here. So coming into lap 18, we are praying for a miracle at this point, as someone has a bit of an incident, and now a full safety car has come out, and that is absolutely perfect. That has kind of given me a lifeline to get back into this race. So we're going to pit for the medium tyres, fresh medium tyres. I believe pretty much everyone has pitted. I think there's only a couple of people who haven't pitted, and one of them is my championship rival, Suzuka, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. He's decided to actually stay out on the hard tyres. I think him and Schumacher were the only drivers who didn't pit. So I'm on new mediums, but everyone ahead of me is on new mediums as well. So we do not have a tyre advantage over 95% of the field. So we are in dead last here, and we've got 11 laps of this race to go, or 10 as we cross the line. It is absolutely game on, and if we have any race pace and ability, this is the time to show it. And I think this drive here, from now to the end of the race, I think is probably the best I've driven in a good 2 or 3 years. I think coming back into league racing this past year, I've had some really good performances at times, but I haven't felt I've reached the peak of what I was, or quite in that level. I think the way I'm driving here now, as the tyres are going off, the decisions we made, and just the pace we had, and we didn't have a tyre advantage. Everyone's on fresh mediums pretty much ahead of me here. I felt, yeah, this is kind of almost going back to my best in terms of the race pace, especially as well. So you can see here, just in this first lap, just navigating it. So I know I've got plenty of time I also know the setup I'm running, the balance gets better and better for me the more the tyres go off. So it's just about being patient. I don't need to take any risks right now or anything at all. Everyone's going to be fighting quite a bit as UPRL Domi had a bit of incident. So we're anticipating a bit of an incident here because it's a huge incident here. And we get a little bit unlucky here as well. The game decides to give me 2 legal overtakes where we couldn't really do anything there unless we just stopped dead behind. And that was a bit frustrating. So we could have got 4 cars there. But now we have to let some cars behind. So instead of overtaking 4, we're actually overtaking 2. And this is a virtual safety car. So you're waiting for this again, almost running to the back of this guy up ahead. Virtual safety car just ended. So gained 3 positions, but someone had to pit here. And we've got to try and dispatch these cars as quick as we can. So he goes in deep. We go for the switchback, getting some really, really good traction. He decides not to fight this. So now we're up into P12. So that's 4 positions done already. And if we've got any chance of getting some big points this race, we have got to be dispatching cars really, really quickly. It's going into here. My teammate, I believe he had quite a bit of wing damage, so he got caught up in an instant. Very thankfully, he lets me pass. So, respect to him. Really, really appreciate that. And, in this race, again, just really focus on lap by lap. Not thinking about the end result right now. Just focusing on doing the best we can. You can see right up behind Invincible here, who has a bit of a penalty as well. So I didn't expect him to really fight this too hard. And going for this overtake, I don't think we're going to use any... Yeah, we're going to use a little bit of the battery, then quickly turn it off. So have to be very strategic and how we use the battery here. And now we've got to get within the DRS zone of these cars up ahead. So this is kind of a demonstration of the race pace we had. So you can see the gap is about 1.5 seconds. I know there's a hard tyre ahead of him, so I know he's going to be held up slightly. So we've got to try and get within this DRS zone in this next sequence of corners, because getting the DRS is very, very big around here. And you can see already, the gap we just closed in here. I think Schumacher, again, was one of those drivers who decided not to pit. So he's only pitted once this race. He's on hard tyres from lap 3, so they're going to be quite worn at this stage. And again, I wasn't really expecting him to fight his position that hard. See, we get nice and close going into this DRS straight here, and the goal is trying to dispatch him without using that much of the battery at all. So we're going to use a little bit of the battery on the exit. His red light's flashing, so when the red light's flashing, they are not in hot lap, they're not pushing, they're just saving the battery. So that was a fairly easy overtake. So we've been quite fortunate so far, but still got quite a lot of work to do. And now let's see what we can do. So cluster of cars up ahead here. So all of these cars are on the same freshness of tyres as me, so there's no advantage in tyres or anything at all. But I could already feel the guys ahead of me, they were really struggling in terms of the balance of their cars. You can see they're really going out wide, whereas with me, this setup, it's got so much rotation in the corners, not on entry, but during. You can just see, look how much faster we are with this as well. So going down here, this is a bit of an indecisive move, so a bit of a half-hearted move, because I didn't want to make contact. Make a tiny bit of contact. He's on the outside. We use the ERS quite quick in a straight line as well. And I was hoping he would just give up that position, which he does. So a little thank you to him there. And now we've got a whole sequence of cars up ahead. And you can see it's almost 4 wide going into this turn 1. So pretty crazy stuff going through there. I just knew at this point, I just needed to be patient. We still got quite a few laps of this race here to go. Let these cars kind of jostle amongst themselves. And that Ferrari, Suzuka, he is the championship leader. So he's the guy I really need to beat this race. And you can see here, we're not even attacking these drivers here. So they're going almost 2 or 3 wide. He has a bit of distance, so go around the outside of him. And he's one of the drivers who didn't pit. So I was quite surprised he didn't pit. He's been on those hards since lap 3 as well. And our mediums are just going to be so much faster than his at this stage of the race. So now we're up into P7. So 6 laps ago, we were in last place. Now we're in 7th. And you can just already see, I could see the drivers ahead. They were really struggling, especially on the high traction zones like this. You could just say, look how much more pace we have. So just in the corners, my car was just not over-rotating. It was just super, super stable. So next at this corner, I'm going to get a pretty good exit here. And I've got a lot of ERS, because I know Sainz used a lot of his ERS to battle the cars ahead on the lap before, so I knew he wasn't really going to have much to defend with. Now we go down the inside, and you can see Ickle up ahead of me. He's really struggling on his tyres as well. So I could just see visually that everyone else was really struggling. And again, in these traction zones, my car, the way I set up my car with kind of like the inverted approach, it makes it understeer when you turn in, but lots of grip in the corner. When the car's heavy, it really grips up, and that is perfect for when your tyres go off. And Iko, again, he's got a bit of a penalty. I thought he was going to fight his position, but he decides to let me go. So, no, being quite fortunate at the same time. And, no, a little bit of a thank you to him, because he has a penalty that he knows isn't going to get removed. And I think he could tell I was a little bit faster on the pace. So you can see there's a bit of a gap up ahead of us, and you can just see lap by lap how quickly we are closing this gap down. So it's like 1.3 seconds here, and within less than a lap, we are within that DRS zone. We've actually pulled a second, got out the DRS of Iko behind as well. So again, this pace was very, very strong. So we are the fastest car on track quite comfortably at this stage of the race. And I can see up ahead, WRL, if I can read that correctly. No, that's for the podium. And I know Stefanich ahead, sorry if I can pronounce that correctly, has got a bit of a penalty, so I know he isn't going to be a factor. But if I want to get this podium, I need to be getting ahead of him as much as possible. I cannot afford to be the third man in this DRS train. So I know on this lap 30, I'm going to have to get ahead of the racing point, or sorry, Toro Rosso, whatever you want to call it. I need to get ahead of him now. So coming to here, I was really hoping he wasn't going to fight this too hard, because again, he's got quite a big penalty here. So going to be using the ERS, and again, my car is actually quite fast in a straight line. The red light is flashing, so I know he isn't really going to fight this. So just picking the braking point very, very carefully, making sure not to make any contact. And now we're into P2. So again, 10 laps ago, we were in P16. Now we're in P2. And no, this is going to be a bit of a side-by-side comparison. So in the top right, this is from the official GASR stream. So you can hear the commentary in the background as well. I really recommend you to watch it. So it is in German. It's predominantly a German league, German-speaking league. But the enthusiasm, the passion is absolutely crazy. So I'd really recommend for you to subscribe and look at the broadcast. And you can see WRL has actually decided to let me go here. And no, we didn't squeeze him. Managed to leave a little bit of racing room. And he decides to let me go because he wants to DRS me going into this last lap. But for me, I had quite a lot of battery here. But I just felt really confident in the pace. I felt like I could get a good enough exit up the key corners where he is not going to be able to take me. And you'll be able to see in this first sector, so you see the traction we get out of here is super strong. So it's really crucial on this right-hander here. I've got to get a really, really good exit. And you can see we get another really good exit using all the battery. So he's really attacking us as much as he can. So we go kind of half defend the track here. But you can see we're just out braking round the outside. So going into that corner, I was just super, super confident on the brakes. And right here now, he really only has one more opportunity. And that's kind of going into the final chicane, or like this middle DRS straight. So coming into here, I actually make a bit of a mistake. So going for a left-hander, this is okay. But this right-hander, I completely missed the apex. You can see I'm actually sliding a bit now. I just completely missed the apex. You can see he's very, very close. But again, you'll see the traction I get out of this corner. This is the key. I get such good traction. I don't even use the battery here because I know he's going to attack me. So I kind of squeeze him, leave him just enough room, just so that he doesn't get a good switchback. And then coming into here, I'm using my battery. You can see he's using all of his battery, but we have more than him. We're quick in a straight line. We don't need to defend fresh air because, again, I was very, very confident on the brakes. And you can see Backfall has won the race, Anton P2. And we have almost done the impossible. We've gone from last to P3 in 10 laps.
Yes!
And yeah.
What a recovery. Oh my god.
And yeah, what a recovery indeed. No, I was just really, really happy with that drive. Ultimately, because of the way the safety cars turned out, and I think around tracks like this and Monaco and other tracks of similar nature, you need to kind of be a bit fortunate with the safety car. We kind of already lost the race by not pitting on lap 3. But the thing is, if it was a full safety car on lap 13, then we would have been in a net P1 with the freshest tyres as well. So, no, sometimes it goes against you, sometimes it doesn't. But after having that drive through, going to the back of the grid and then coming through to P3, it kind of feels like a win to me. And no, I just really adopted a new mentality recently. Ever since that Zandvoort race, I kind of think it's been a blessing in disguise. I've just become a lot calmer, a lot more composed. A lot of your guys' comments, a lot of people messaging me, people who are being constructive, I will definitely take on board, because it has really, really helped me actually almost get back to my best in terms of race pace and just my driving overall again. But I really hope you enjoyed that. Hopefully not only was it entertaining, but educational as well, in terms of coming through the field. And if you like access to the setup I was using here, hit that join button, become a YouTube member, join my Discord, and also consider signing up to Coaching Me at www.coachlimits.com. Thank you so much. And you can see here the championship standings. So getting quite close to a championship now. We do have a break week, so there is no race this weekend, which is actually a bit of a shame, because I feel the momentum is actually quite good stead. So we are back in a couple of weeks' time for Canada. So not this Sunday, but the Sunday afterwards, we are back for Canada. Hopefully you join me then. And thank you so much. Peace.